Imagine a man who couldn't even walk properly, dreaming of conquering the world's highest peak. No climbing experience, no proper gear, and yet he set out, alone, to climb Mount Everest in the 1930s. Was he insane, or incredibly brave? Today, we're uncovering the unbelievable story of Maurice Wilson, the British eccentric, who believed he was destined to reach the top of the world through prayer, fasting, and sheer willpower. But how far did he really get? And what did they find when they finally discovered his body? Stick around till the end, because the ending will leave you speechless. Maurice Wilson was born on April 21st, 1898, in Bradford, England. He was the third of 4 sons in a family that enjoyed modest prosperity, thanks to his father's position as a director in a wool spinning mill. Despite this comfortable upbringing, Maurice's early life didn't hint at the extraordinary path he would later pursue. At the age of 18, amidst the turmoil of World War I, Maurice enlisted in the British Army. His leadership qualities quickly shone through, earning him a promotion to second lieutenant. By November 1917, he was deployed to the Western Front, where he displayed remarkable bravery. During a fierce engagement in Meissen, he commanded his unit with such distinction that he was awarded the Military Cross, a testament to his valor. However, the war left indelible scars on Maurice. In July 1918, he sustained severe injuries, a gunshot wound to his left arm and another to his chest. The damage to his arm was so extensive that doctors doubted he would regain full use of it. This physical trauma, coupled with the psychological toll of war, led to a period of convalescence and introspection. After the war, seeking solace and purpose, Maurice embarked on travels that took him across the globe. He ventured to America and later to New Zealand, immersing himself in various cultures and experiences. It was during these journeys that he began to explore spirituality, becoming deeply influenced by the belief that prayer and fasting could heal both body and soul. This newfound conviction would later become the cornerstone of his audacious plan to conquer Mount Everest. The early 1930s saw a surge of interest in Mount Everest. The majestic peak, standing at 29,032 feet, had become the ultimate challenge for adventurers worldwide. Despite numerous attempts, the summit remained unconquered, and many had perished in their endeavors. Maurice Wilson, despite lacking any formal climbing experience, became captivated by the idea of ascending Everest. He believed that through prayer, fasting, and unwavering faith, he could achieve what others could not. His plan was as unorthodox as it was daring. He intended to fly a small aircraft from England to Tibet, crash land as close to Everest as possible, and then undertake a solo ascent to the summit. To realize this vision, Maurice purchased a second-hand Gypsy Moth biplane, affectionately naming it Everest. Despite having no prior flying experience, he undertook an intensive training regimen, obtaining his pilot's license in a remarkably short period. His determination was unwavering, even in the face of skepticism and bureaucratic obstacles. In May 1933, Maurice embarked on his journey, departing from England with the aim of reaching India. His flight path took him through Europe and the Middle East, with stops in countries like France and Egypt. However, upon reaching India, he encountered resistance from British colonial authorities, who were wary of his intentions and denied him permission to proceed toward Tibet. Undeterred, Maurice devised an alternative plan. He abandoned his aircraft and, embracing his belief in divine guidance, decided to trek overland toward Everest. Disguising himself as a Tibetan monk to evade detection, he began the arduous journey through the Himalayas. Relying solely on his faith and determination, Maurice's overland journey was fraught with challenges. Traversing the rugged terrains of the Himalayas without proper equipment or local knowledge was a formidable task. He faced extreme weather conditions, treacherous paths, and the constant threat of discovery by authorities who had explicitly forbidden his expedition. Despite these obstacles, Maurice pressed on, driven by an unshakable belief in his mission. He subsisted on minimal provisions, often relying on the generosity of local villagers and monks. His days were marked by long, grueling treks, and his nights by solitary reflections and prayers. After weeks of relentless travel, Maurice reached the Rongbuk Monastery, situated near the base of Mount Everest. The monastery, perched at an altitude of approximately 16,340 feet, served as a spiritual haven for Buddhist monks and a waypoint for mountaineers. Here, Maurice took a brief respite, engaging with the monks and immersing himself in their spiritual practices. Determined to proceed, Maurice enlisted the assistance of 3 experienced Sherpas, Tewang, Tsering and Rinzing. While they provided invaluable support in navigating the challenging terrains, Maurice was resolute in his decision to undertake the actual ascent alone. He believed that his success depended not on physical prowess or external aid, but on his spiritual preparation and divine favor. Imagine standing alone on the roof of the world, the wind howling like a banshee, temperatures cold enough to freeze your breath in midair. No support, no ropes, no oxygen. That was the world Maurice Wilson stepped into in 1934, armed with little more than a tattered tent, a tin of biscuits, a few chocolate bars, and a faith that could move mountains. He began his climb up Mount Everest. There were no Sherpas guiding his path, no backup team waiting below, just Maurice and God. Each morning, he would kneel in the snow and pray. Then, he'd pack up camp and continue, climbing through blinding blizzards and icy death traps. Every step was a war against the mountain, against his body, and against time. And yet, he kept going. His journal entries became increasingly poetic and spiritual. He described feeling as though he was being guided by divine forces. He spoke of strange dreams, of a presence he couldn't explain. Was it hypoxia-induced hallucination? Or something more? One entry read, "I believe I'm getting stronger. I am not afraid. I will succeed. But Everest doesn't care how brave or spiritual you are. It is indifferent, ancient, and merciless." Maurice began to suffer. The freezing temperatures gnawed at his bones. His body, already weakened from fasting, started to break down. His food supply dwindled. The wind tore holes through his thin tent. Still, he pressed on. For days, he remained at an altitude where most people today wouldn't dare to camp without oxygen. He believed that if he kept climbing, just one more push, he might touch the heavens. Then, silence. The diary entries stopped. In the spring of 1935, almost a full year after, Maurice had vanished into the mountain. A British reconnaissance expedition stumbled upon a strange sight at around 22,000 feet. A sleeping bag, a few scattered belongings, a man lying curled up, as if simply resting. It was Maurice Wilson. He was found frozen in his sleeping bag, peacefully posed, his body preserved by the ice. Near him, his boots, his diary, and a final haunting message scrawled in simple handwriting. "Off again. Gorgeous day." Was that the last thing he ever wrote? Or were there more pages the ice never returned? No one knows exactly how far he got. Some climbers believe he may have reached as high as Camp 3 or IV. Others think he never made it past the North Pole. But one thing is certain. He got farther than anyone believed. Possible for a man in his condition, with his lack of preparation and completely alone. Maurice was buried in a crevasse by the climbers who found him. They left behind a simple cairn of stones, a frozen monument to one of the most bizarre and tragic adventures in Everest's long history. So, was Maurice Wilson a fool? A lunatic? Or was he a visionary? Someone who dared to believe in something greater than himself? To this day, Everest holds tight to its secrets. But Maurice's story still echoes through the ice and snow. He wasn't trying to prove he was stronger than the mountain. He was trying to prove that faith, real, unshakable, mad faith, could carry a person through anything. And in some ways, maybe it did. He didn't conquer Everest, but perhaps that was never the point. He conquered his fear. He transcended doubt. He lived and died by his beliefs. But the question that haunts mountaineers and historians to this day, how far did he really get? Could he have made it closer to the summit than we think? After all, bodies on Everest don't always stay where they fall. The mountain shifts. The snow buries secrets. Could Maurice have crawled higher, past the death zone, only to slip back down unseen? We may never know. But here's something to think about. Would you have the courage to try something everyone else says is impossible? Would you walk alone into the jaws of death, just because you believed? Let me know in the comments what you think. Was Maurice Wilson a madman or a misunderstood hero? If this story moved you, hit the like button. Subscribe for more unbelievable true tales. And please, share this video with someone who loves mystery, adventure, and the incredible strength of the human spirit. Until next time, stay curious, stay brave, and keep climbing.